Born in Salem, Massachusetts, a free state, Sarah's family were told they had to segregate. The Remonds believed that they must educate, but the best schools in Salem wouldn't integrate. They were self-made business people and activists, a family of upspoken worldly strategists. Their home was a hub for the abolitionist movement, a place and a space for self-improvement. The books that were shelved, the lectures that were held, the lodges that would dwell meant that Sarah was propelled. Their house was a home for those fleeing slave states, offering a place to stay and a chance to change fates, and Sarah's family would loudly advocate that no skin tone needed to dominate. Her parents made sure she understood the laws of liberty, that segregation and slavery could be pushed into history. Though at times black people were outcast, a change would happen if they spoke up and were steadfast. Wade in the water. At sweet 16, Sarah starts to speak up. At abolitionist lectures, audiences were struck by her compelling voice and her grounded words. Her empathy and argument made slavery absurd. 1853, the moment Sarah takes a seat. At a theatre she sat, not giving in to defeat. She paid for a ticket, a front row treat. When she was asked to move, she refused to concede. The segregated seats for black people was known as nigger heaven. Sarah, 26, had had enough of this oppression. She took the theatre to court, fought and won. The theatre had to integrate the seats and pay a $500 sum. Wade in the water, children, wade. In 1858 she sails the Atlantic to Liverpool, crossing the slave route her ancestors sailed before. Back in America, white people saw her as something less, but in Britain she was accepted, as she confessed.
I have been received here as a sister by white women for the first time in my life. I have received a sympathy I was never offered before.
For 7 years she told shocking tales to audiences in Britain. From London to Warrington to Glasgow, all would listen. She didn't hold back on details that were gory. She knew it was essential to telling slave stories. Oh, God's gonna trouble the water. Then she came to Manchester, where cotton was king, and Sarah knew she had to really let her speech sing. She kept to the task and she didn't change track, quick to point out the profits being made on slave backs.
I ask you, raise the moral public opinion until its voice reaches the American shores. Aid us thus until the shackles of the American slave melt like dew before the morning sun. I ask for special help from the women of England. Women are the worst victims of slave power. I am met on every hand by the cry, cotton, cotton. I cannot stop to speak of cotton while women and men are being brutalized.
Audiences were taken in by the talk of racial injustice and slavery. Sarah was praised for her passion and for her bravery. Manchester heard the suffering of those across the sea and added their voices, asking for people to be free. Sarah had talked of womanhood and family, of being treated like animals, a call for humanity. In the echoing chamber of the Athenaeum Lecture Hall, Manchester audiences were left enthralled. Oh, God's gonna trouble the water. Sarah always kept speaking up for the oppressed and maligned. The suffragist movement she also got behind. She moved to Florence, became a doctor, on to Rome, fell in love, got married, made Italy her home. She was a generous spirit and an outstanding speaker, a passionate learner and a humanitarian teacher. History can be rewritten, even if the past remains the same. Let Sarah Parker Remond be a household name. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children, wade. In the water, oh, God's gonna trouble the water. Oh, God's gonna trouble the water.